Hello and welcome to episode number 5 of Double the Tea with your hosts, Trenton
and Trinity.
Today is actually National I Care About You Day. So Trinity, I care about you.
I care about you too, Trenton.
So as you guys can tell, if you follow our Instagram page, you also know as well. We just got new mics. They were really expensive. But it is also World Opera Day, National Greasy Foods Day, World Pasta Day, International Artist Day, Sourest Day, which I'm guessing is referring to like sour candies and sour foods, Crisp Sandwich Day, Punk for a Day, so I guess be a punk, be a rocker, I don't know. And it is Katy Perry's birthday. So if you guys were wondering, that is what is going on in the world today. Now on to our songs of the week. My 3 come from Lana Del Rey once again. They are Cherry, Pretty When You Cry, as well as Arcadia. And I'm going to just throw a 4th one in there, Candy Necklace. So these are songs that I just always listen to a few times a week. I have a Lana playlist that I just keep on repeat, basically. So I basically just have the same few songs circulating throughout the week. I feel like Trinity does that sometimes too. So basically, you guys are going to get a lot of like Lana, a lot of Taylor from me. So just anticipate that most weeks. But yeah, those are my current bops of the week. And now here's to Trinity.
So my current songs of the week always follow like similar patterns. It is typically Elvis. I will not say that it's not because I am obsessed with the man. We've learned this by now. If you've listened to this podcast for long enough or known me for long enough, I am an Elvis girly to my core. So one of my songs for the week is Shopping Around. It is from the movie G.I. Blues. It is just such a fun little, like, I don't know. I always have to pick a fun one because I'm like, why not? And then also, I have the song Little Darlin', which I have mentioned in previous weeks. But there is just something about that song and the way that that man is goofy in that song. And the fact that, like, half the words are not even really English. That just, it makes me happy, okay? There is something about it that just, it makes me smile so big. And then I'm going to throw in an oldie. Like, Elvis songs are not oldies, but an oldie that you all might actually know, and it is Stuck Like Glue by Sugarland. I have played that like 10 times this week.
Love.
And I cannot stop.
I love that song.
Their song, I have to throw another one in there too. Their song, oh, what's it called? I know there's Stay, but it's the one, All I Want to Do. That one. Sorry, guys, it took me a second. I've listened to it this week too, but I could hear the lyrics. I just couldn't get the title. But yeah, that one, All I Want to Do. And they mention Elvis in it, so like it's a win-win situation.
If there's any Sugarland slander, get out of the chat, please.
Go.
Like,
Sugarland
I can't.
Is amazing. On the note of Sugarland, sorry, branching off a little bit, I just saw the new movie, oh my gosh. It's a horror movie and it is
was it Poltergeist?
It just came out. No. It's the spirits and the people. What's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying. Anyway, and it had Jennifer Nettles, who is the main girl in Sugarland, in it. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And she plays like one of the moms. And I was terrified the entire time that we watched this movie, The Exorcist.
The Exorcist.
It's The Exorcist Believer.
So, culture. So, recently it was released that Maren Morris and her husband Ryan Hurd have filed for divorce after 5 years of marriage. She is 33 years old. She filed on October 2nd. Apparently there was irreconcilable differences. That's the reason for their split, and these were obtained in documents by US Weekly.
Oh, I feel like here's the thing. Whenever people say like it was, there were just differences that we just couldn't figure it out. 9 times out of 10, it's because someone found someone else or cheated. Or
okay, I was honestly thinking the same thing.
They go to the public and they go to the media and they're like, oh my gosh, it was just, we had differences. And then you're like, sweetie, was it differences? Or was one of you into different people?
Right.
Like, what's going on here?
Well, they first met while co-writing a Tim McGraw song, "The Last Turn Home."
Ooh,
Are
that's a
you
good song.
okay? I'm not
I haven't
familiar
heard
with
in
it,
forever, but that's a
but
good
that was
song.
in 2014, and from there, their friendship turned into a romance. They began dating the following year, and in 2017, Heard popped the question to her, and the couple tied the knot in Nashville in March of 2018. And then 2 years later, in 2020, they welcomed their first child together.
I was about to say, don't they have kids?
Mm-hmm. So basically, that's like all the information we got on this at this point. I'm sure more will be released as like more of the documents get filed and when they have to go to court and such. But I mean, it's just the thing with these celebrities. I'm sorry, but when you're famous and you get with somebody else that's famous, I hate to say it, but girl, how is that going to work? And how did you think that was going to work?
I feel like in certain cases, famous people do work out, but it's not super often.
Right.
I feel like
I feel like it only works when they have a very private.
Yes. I think the more public that they make, like that you make your relationship, and the more that you're like, oh my gosh, look at us. We're going to dinner. We're going here. We're going there. I feel like it just opens more room for people to kind of get in there and interfere with your relationship. And in my opinion, a relationship with somebody is something that should be kept private.
Agreed.
Yes, there are aspects that you can share. There are things that you should share. You know, if there's like an anniversary or something, a cute little post on social media is always appreciated. But like when it comes to the paparazzi in the public, I don't think that your every move should be documented. And whenever you go out, like I heard some celebrities will literally call and tip off the paparazzi on where they're going.
They will because they want pictures taken
the
of them.
and they want that like thing going on.
Which that's some shit I would do. Let's be honest.
Honestly, we know. But like the thing is, when I'm in, for example, me, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, there are certain people that I trust to tell information about that relationship to. I have a very close circle of people that I'm okay with knowing, oh my God, guess what just happened?
Right. Isn't that why it's crazy? Like when you'll say an outside source reported this, it's like, check who your friends are because obviously somebody is going to the news, going to these outlets, and they're tattling on you, babe.
Pretty much. And there was one, oh my God, there was one celebrity, I can't think of who it was, but they had like 5 friends or something like that were super close, and a news outlet had reported something that was different, or had reported that something had happened, like they had a fight, like, you know, and there was an inside source, like, or an outside source or whatever. And this person told all 5 of their friends, or however many friends it was, each of their friends, a different story on, I think it was their kid's name. They told each person a different name and then like kept track of who they told what name to. And when the press found out that like, oh my God, this is what this celebrity is naming their ex-child, they cut that friend out of their friend group. Because they were telling the press what was going on in their life. And that's not cool. Like, let's be honest.
Right.
If you have a friend who's a celebrity, don't out their stuff to the public because they trust you and they tell you things for a reason.
Exactly.
Sorry, that's like a little tangent, but like,
no, you're good, girl.
But like,
on another note, this is crazy. CHER is addressing allegations that she hired 4 men to kidnap her 47-year-old son, Elijah Blue. She's 77 right now. She denied having contracted men to kidnap her son. And this was apparently all taking place in New York City at a hotel room. She was accused after there was an intervention, and this was apparently reported in recently surfaced divorce documents from CHER's son's estranged wife. CHER told People magazine that the rumor is not true, but she also declined to comment. So she did confirm that the issue was a private family matter relating to her son's addiction issues. And she said, I'm not suffering from any problem that millions of people in the United States aren't. So she did once again confirm the rumor is in fact not true.
The fact, though, that you just said hired somebody to kidnap
Is that not
her
crazy?
son, and then denied it being true? And
See,
then,
and this is
which
another
I
thing.
get, but like,
When you are of that stature, when you have that much money, whether something comes out and it is not true or it is true, they can hide that because they have the money, the funds, and the means to do so. Like, they have publicists for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there are so many celebrities.
And there's so much that they hide.
There's so many
like,
things that they hide.
The thing is, this is why things like, there are like secret groups and things that people think is going on, because they can hide so much that, like, this is why people are like, oh my god, all these celebrities are part of, is the Illuminati something that's celebrities that, like, apparently celebrities
Yes, there's so many celebrities that they do say are part of the Illuminati.
I don't even know what the Illuminati is.
So it's basically, I think it's what it's like described as is like a secret organization that it's basically only a small group are a part of, and they basically know a bunch of information. Like, it's suspected that Beyonce, Rihanna, maybe even Taylor Swift are part of the Illuminati. It's basically just people of really high status.
But I also think that the Illuminati is partly just the public's way of trying to say, we know that you have secret groups. We know
I would
you
agree.
have things going on. We know what's happening here.
And to be honest, like, even if they're not a part of the Illuminati per se, I would assume that they do have some sort of organization where they know all of this different information.
I think the Illuminati is just the basic go-to.
I think so too.
Because whenever a celebrity does something, even that's like slightly off, they're like, Illuminati.
Exactly. And obviously, who are we to say? We're not rich and famous. We don't actually know.
I wish.
I know. But it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. Especially, I'm like, Cher, you're an icon. Like, if this is true, I'm really like disappointed and
why
sad.
Would you do that?
But why would you do that? Even if your son is a drug addict, take him to rehab, girl. We don't need to be kidnapping him. I don't know. I don't know if it's true, but it was reported. So I guess we'll get more information on that.
The kidnap thing, one last comment on that. Could it have been misconstrued as a potential, and this is just me reaching out of nowhere, but could it be construed as a potential way for her not kidnapping him, but people who came in to take him to rehab, and then it just got misconstrued as kidnapping?
I think so.
Could it have been her saying, like, you need to go to rehab, you're not going to rehab, I'm going to get these people to come take you to rehab, you're going to get better. And then everybody just saw people taking him from a hotel room and were like, kidnap.
I think it's either that or possibly, since it was an ex-wife that like made this report, maybe she wanted some money, like knowing that Cher is Cher.
Literally, you don't even have to say as like anything.
I'm guessing money was involved. Like, I don't know for sure. It's not really my place to say. But as more outlets report more things, we will let you guys know what we know as soon as we know it.
Because we gotta keep you up to the tea.
Yes, we do.
Well, the pop culture.
So, basically, I'm thinking, which I could talk about this off the podcast, but we keep this very conversational here. So, I'm thinking that we cut the season off at the end of January. That be season 1. Okay. We start season 2 in February.
I like the idea of that.
Because that's like 22 episodes. Y'all, if y'all want to be a guest star on this podcast, message us. Serious inquiries only.
Don't message us and say, oh my god, I want to be a guest star. And then when we follow up with you, you be like, yeah, I want to talk about the fact that, like, I drank a Mountain Dew this morning.
I drank a Mountain Dew this morning. I actually went 5 over the speed limit. Babe, we don't care. But if you do have something, like, interesting to say, like, we need some tea.
Want the good stuff.
Message us. We will be glad to get you on this podcast.
But, like, also, we will do a screening process of, like, what is the tea you would like to tell. And I have gotten a couple of people that were like, let me on this show. I have got stuff to tell.
What I will say, though, is we've already dropped over $500 on mics. So, you might have, like, a bad mic, but, you'll have to deal with it. Or you can share with us, because I can't drop another $260 on a mic.
I don't think that either of us can drop 260 on a mic. I'm surprised that you did. Honestly,
To be honest, though, we needed it.
we did.
Because we've already released 4 episodes and we've listened to them back, and we never liked the audio
episodes
quality.
themselves are great. Don't get us wrong, but like the audio is so bad. It's not.
And the audio is so important, especially when you're doing an audio podcast.
Honestly. But when Trenton texted me on, what was it, Monday?
Monday? Yeah, Monday. Because today is Wednesday.
Well, no, because it came in. They came in yesterday, so it would have been
Monday.
Monday?
Yeah, I ordered them on
Monday.
I got express delivery, which I should have because I paid over $500. But yeah, so I ordered them Monday. They got here yesterday.
Anyway, yes. But here's the thing. When he texted me and he was like, just so you know, I did something crazy. And I was like, you did what? And he filled me in on the fact that mics were coming. And I was like, do you want money back for this? Or like, what's going on? And he was like, think of it as like an early Christmas present. And I was like, Trenton!
Which is true because we were wanting to ask for these mics for Christmas. But like with the sound quality, like the audio,
we didn't think we could wait. But
we couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. I needed to get us these mics because I know that we do have people that enjoy this podcast, and I want the experience to be as good for us as it is for them. And without these mics, it's not. And me and Trinity are so mesmerized because we can both wear our headphones now. We can both hear ourselves into our. It's amazing. I love it.
It's so good.
I need to wrap this up because I've been going on forever. But Trinity also got a new item in the mail today, and she's going to talk about that in the book segment.
We gotta talk, yo. Okay, so y'all, I read this duet over a year ago. It is the Wildflower duet by Macaulay Smeltzer. If you have heard of this or read this, I feel so bad for you if you've read this because this book is so incredible, but it also made me sob like a baby. So basically, I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown on what it's about and then tell you about the new item I got in the mail today. So, this book, The Confidence of Wildflowers. So, this is an 18-year-old. Her name is Sawyer. Or Salem, sorry. My brain today, it's like so much. I promise you, I know what I'm talking about though. It just, sometimes my brain is like, but Salem, let me get this right, because her favorite movie is Hocus Pocus. Like, come on. It's a great Halloween duet because it's about the closest you're going to get to me reading any kind of horror book or anything like that. Anyway, so it is about Salem, who has a cat named Binks because, you know, Thackeray Binks. And she basically doesn't know what she wants to do after high school. Doesn't know what to do. And she is trying to figure that out. Well, this new guy moves in next door. Okay. And this new guy, she goes over and takes cupcakes too. Mind you not, she's 18. And he basically kind of has like, he's a little bit not so nice. He kind of shoos her away. And she comes back and it's a whole thing. And they end up kind of becoming, I want to say, friends a little bit. Well, she finds out he has a son, and he basically asks her to babysit his son, like, a little bit. Until he gets home from work, if I remember correctly, or something like that. It's just, like, every so often while he's at work or whatever. So she says, okay. Well, she's got this boyfriend at the time, and there's this stuff going on. There's a lot happening with this boyfriend. Mind you not, his name, this guy, the guy who moved in next door, I need to tell you, his name is Thayer. And Thayer is Thayer. I don't know how to describe Thayer other than, like, he's Thayer. Like, he's this, like he works and he's like an outdoor kind of guy, and he literally does like the outdoorsy stuff. He does construction, I believe, for a living. Construction or landscaping, I don't remember which one. But anyway, book's about Salem, who basically falls in love with Thayer, and it is incredible. There are all these cute little moments. For anyone who's saying I don't like an age gap romance, because 18 and 31 can be a little bit of like too much of an age gap. If I'm doing my mental math correctly, I believe that's 13 years. It can be too much for some people. For me, it was just right. But like for some people, 13 years could be like a deal breaker. Well, in reading this first book, you get heartbroken. Something happens. I was reading it. I was sobbing. I'm getting chills thinking about this book right now. Like, Trenton, there are chills. Y'all. Literal chills. Like, not like chills like shaking, but like cold chill. You know what I mean? Like, it's giving me goosebumps. It's crazy. Okay. You get to book 2, and it tries to patch things up. I'm telling you, it does a good job, but you're still... It repairs your heart, but it doesn't fully fix your heart. Like, you will still be, like, somewhat upset. Well, today, I received in the mail a book called The Endurance of Wildflowers. So we had The Confidence of Wildflowers, The Resurrection of Wildflowers, and now we have The Endurance. And this book, I'm telling you, the other books were quite long, but this book right here is literally only 122 pages, so I will finish this by tomorrow. I'm telling you, by the end of tomorrow, this book will be done. I will have it done. I might even have it done tonight if I don't have anything to do. Because I might not have anything to do tonight. Now I'm kind of hoping I don't. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, this duet will tear your heart apart. So I will let you know next week how the third book in the series goes, because my heart, it still hurts from reading this book series. If you need a good book to read that has Halloween themed kind of names, but isn't really like a Halloween book, but will tear your heart out and rip it to shreds and then kind of put it back together with like tape so that like your heart is in the shape of a heart, but it's not like fully fixed, then that is what you want to do. Please let me know though if you read this book. My Instagram is in our Instagram bio, so my personal Instagram is there. And if you message the podcast page, Trenton handles the podcast page, but he can let me know who you are and I can like PM you or whatever. But like, please let me know if you read this book, because Thayer and Salem, oh my god. And then her boyfriend Caleb, I kind of felt bad for it in moments and at times. But then other times I was like, get away from me. I want Thayer. Give me the hot dad. I mean, like, if you don't want spoilers, this is going to be about 30 seconds of spoilers. So, like, skip ahead just a little tiny bit. Just, like, 30 seconds, maybe a minute. But he literally found out that she was going to the gym because she has insomnia, so she can't sleep. So he found out that she was running at, like, 5 a.m. And so he ended up starting to show up early in the morning at her house with coffee to run with her. And then when it got to be wintertime and he realized that she was going to the gym that was, like, kind of, like, creepy at night, alone, he literally built a gym in his basement and got all of the equipment that he thought that she might need and leaves his basement door open so that she can come down there whenever. Is that not crazy? Is that not insane?
That's crazy.
Like, this is literally his babysitter, who is like 18 at the time. Maybe, I don't remember if she turns 19 during the course of this or not. I think she does, because I think there's like a whole birthday moment. I don't know. But I will say, it's absolutely insane. Thayer is just incredible. Okay, spoilers are over. You're good now. Okay, Thayer's incredible. Please read this duet, but don't get mad at me when you get your heart broken in the process. Because the confidence of Wildflowers, again, it will wreck you. Resurrection will kind of put you together. And I don't know about the endurance, because I'm probably going to cry either way. Because if they mention certain characters... Like, if I see the word forest, like the name forest, I'm going to cry. I'm so done with these books. But also, I can't stop. I cannot stop.
She's like, I'm so done with these books, but also, I hope they come out with another one.
Yes, that's like Flock, the Ravenhood trilogy. I'm reading Exodus right now, and I've cried like 5 times, and but I can't stop. Like, also, y'all, I finally got to the quote, "We love rainy days, don't we, baby?" And let me tell you, I hate all of you that told me to read this book. I hate you because I am so broken. I'm about to cry on this podcast right now. I feel so broken because of this book. So that's the book segment for today. 2 really, really sad books. Well, 3 in the one series, and then another series of books that is turning out to be really sad for the moment. I'm full of depression this week when it comes to books, but read them all and let me know what you think. I'm shaking my finger, like you can see me shaking my finger and pointing to books saying, read them all. Do it, please, for me. Anyway.
And now for true crime.
Oh, yes.
But before we get started, I did want to say on the last episode, if you guys didn't already see it, I posted a poll, and it was basically just asking if you guys wanted us to keep both the book segment and the true crime segment in each episode, or if you wanted us to do books one episode, true crime one episode, or just basically have us like shorten them, or me shorten them, since I do the pop culture and true crime, which I did try to pick a shorter true crime story today because I know I tend to carry on. Trinity helped me with that, speed up a little bit last week.
It's not even that you carry on. It's just that you somehow seem to pick the longest stories that you can possibly pick. And then you try to fit them into your time for because we don't like time ourselves, but we kind of try to stick to certain times. Like a little bit. We try to stick to a certain amount of minutes. And somehow you always pick the ones that like you scroll through it and it's like 50 pages on your phone. And I'm like, I know. Trenton,
luckily, I picked a way shorter one. So let's get started. This one is about Gerard Schaefer. He's also known as the Hangman. So it starts out. Even when serial killer Gerard Schaefer was stabbed to death in his cell on December 13th, 1995 at the Florida State Prison, mystery prevailed. Officials pinned the jailhouse slaying on his cellmate, a charmer named Vincent Rivera. But there was a bloody palm print in the death cell that belonged to neither man, and there were boot prints all over the dead killer's body. His lawyers claimed Rivera was a patsy. Schaefer's sister said her brother was murdered because he was trying to verify the murder confession of Otis Toole, who admitted killing Adam Walsh. Others said Schaefer got shivved because he was a rat. But when Schaefer was murdered, detectives believe he took to the grave secrets on how he murdered scores of girls. At the time of his demise, Broward County homicide detectives were about to bring new charges against Schaefer for 3 unsolved murders. Outside Florida, Schaefer is not well known on the serial killer list, but some experts believe he was one of the worst. He was one of the sickest, said a retired FBI agent. If I had a list of the top 5, which would include all of the serial killers I have interviewed throughout the country, he would definitely be in the top 5. Schaefer was born in Wisconsin, and not unexpectedly, his home life was violent and chaotic. The family moved to Fort Lauderdale in 1960, and he attended community college, then earned a BA from Florida Atlantic University. Friends remember that in high school, he began showing disturbing signs of mental illness, things like mutilating small animals and bludgeoning. I'm sorry, I messed this up. Mutilating small animals and an obsession with women's undergarments. He used to call himself Dr. Jerry, a former neighbor told the newspaper. Whenever I had a loose tooth, he used to yank it out with a fishing line. She added that he was so damn weird, I'm lucky to be alive. That's what my mom keeps telling me. Gerard Schaefer was just getting started. His career as a serial killer would be greatly aided by his day gig, a Martin County Sheriff's deputy. On July 21, 1972, while on patrol, Schaefer picked up 2 teenage hitchhikers named Nancy Trotter and Paula Sue Wells. He kidnapped them the next day, took them to a remote woods, and tied them to trees. But when he was called away, the 2 slipped out of their bonds and went to a nearby cop shop, ironically where Schaefer worked. The slippery creep told his boss he was merely trying to scare the girls into not hitchhiking, but Schaefer himself was not scared straight. On September 27, 1972, Schaefer abducted, tortured, and murdered Susan Place, 17 years old, and Georgia Jessup, 16, and buried them near Port St. Lucie. He was later convicted of murdering the two girls. Because of a death penalty, Schaefer escaped a one-way ticket to the electric chair. But detectives believe he was responsible for dozens of murders in Florida and elsewhere in the United States. The slayings were described as ritualistic murders, with the victims first hanged, then the evil cop had sex with their corpses. Then he would dig up their bodies and repeat the twisted processes. He is also suspected of murdering Carmen Marie Halleck, 22 years old, and Lee Hainline, 25 years old, as well as Belinda Hutchins, 22 years old, all out of Fort Lauderdale in the early 1970s. None of their bodies were ever found. In a 1973 search of his mother's house, cops found jewelry and some of Halleck's teeth were found, along with the personal papers of Colette Marie Goodenough and Barbara Ann Wilcox, teen girls from Iowa whose skullless skeletal remains were discovered in 1977 in Martin County. Cops also found a treasure trove of Schaefer's writings that detail sex torture, dismemberment, and murder. Investigators believe the stories reflect the reality of his murders. Schaefer has also been eyed in unsolved homicides in West Virginia, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. One detective said the former cop had the coldest eyes he had ever seen. I believe his accounts are accurate depictions of what he did to his victims, former Detective Richard said after Schaefer's death. He's writing about the crimes he carried out. And he is also on the most wanted list from the time he performed these terrible, torturous acts. So that wraps up True Crime for today. Tried to keep it short for you guys. But I also wanted to tell a story that was interesting, but also, like, sick.
That is sick and twisted, which is kind of, like, perfect for the time that this episode comes out.
I know. And so this isn't actually... So this is going to be our last episode in October, but this technically is... So we're going to do our Halloween episode. We're filming it next week, but it'll come out on November 1st, which is close enough to Halloween.
It is.
So I think next week for True Crime, we're talking about Ted Bundy, because that was highly requested for us to talk about.
Yeah.
So we might have a longer True Crime segment next week, just because Halloween, True Crime, they kind of go hand in hand. But that is all I have for True Crime this week. And now we are on to the tea. The piping hot tea that everybody has come here for.
The tea is always so fun.
The tea is so fun. It's just, it's the most fun to talk about. And I always think,
I feel like it's easy to elaborate on because it's real life and we don't have to look at like scripts or...
Right, because we normally have a few notes just so that we don't miss any of our general points. But like this, we can just go with. And that's really nice.
We just hope that we don't say anything that we don't want the public to know.
Right. So this week's tea, it's going to be kind of a mix of real life situations as well as just generalized statements. So that if that doesn't make any sense to you guys, basically what we're going to be talking about this week is when friends kind of betray you, or when maybe you're friends with somebody and they stop being friends with you because of something that somebody else said or that they heard from somebody else, and how it just kind of like really messes with you mentally and you're kind of left in the dark, not knowing exactly what you did or where to go from there. I think Trinity also might have an example of this too to go along with my example, but I'm not sure.
The thing that sucks though about that, like in general, is that half the time they tell you, like, just so you know, somebody told me this, but they won't tell you who.
And then that happened to me.
Tell you who, like in my case, they told me who. But like when they don't tell you who it is, and then you're like, oh my god, which one of my friends is like talking bad about me and like kind of betraying me in a way. And so you're just like, I need to look at my friend group like a lot closer, man, because you're telling her something about me that's bad. And then, like, you know?
Right.
You get what I mean? Because, like, if it's your friend group...
No, I get exactly what you mean.
You're like, it's somebody in my friend group. And then if it's not in your friend group, you're like, why are you talking bad about me? You don't even know me that well, man.
See, in my case, it was actually ex-friends that got to one of my current friends. And now I'm no longer friends with that current friend because of something that she supposedly heard about me. Which... when I asked her to elaborate on that and tell me like what was up, I wasn't given an answer. To me, if you can't look me in the eyes and give me an answer as to what I did, then there's really no issue. And another thing with people, she was supposedly upset about something that happened with my old friends that I'm no longer friends with. But the thing is, and Trinity might be able to agree with me on this, I don't know. People have different opinions, but here's what I got to say. If it doesn't concern you and it concerned other people that I used to be friends with, mind your damn business. Honestly, you have no reason to be putting your foot into the water when you don't know what you're talking about. And when I ask you what went on, why can't you tell me? Like, that to me sends up multiple red flags. And to me, that's weird behavior. If crazy. You can't even try to tell me like what I did, then shut up.
And the thing is, in this particular case, because I do know what happened.
She knows what I'm talking about.
I know all of the tea. In this particular situation, it's kind of I heard this from somebody. And instead of talking to somebody who I've been friends with forever, I'm going to go and I'm going to believe these people that I met way later in life that are not always accurate on what they're saying.
And that I only hang out with one time a year. Yeah. But hey, who gives a fuck?
And then like, instead of just saying like, hey, is this true? Because like, if I hear, being honest with you, me and Trenton are the type of friends where if I hear something about Trent, and no matter how bad it is, if I hear something about Trent, I am going straight to Trent and saying, I heard this. Is this true? And most of the time I'll tell him who said it, but sometimes I'm like, it just was like a one-off comment and I don't want you to get mad at anybody, but this was kind of said. Tell me, is it true or not?
And I'll do the same thing with Trinity because it's like, I feel like you owe that to the person to be upfront with them. In my particular case with these ex-friends, I mean, obviously we had a falling out. I can't say that it's all their fault, but also they can't say it's all my fault.
I feel like
it was kind of just a thing where I was done. I was over it. Like we stopped being. But even after we were done being friends, some weird shit went on, which I guess I'll try to make an episode about that later on. I don't really want to get into all the details because if I do...
Because they'll know it's them and then like we can't... We have to think, Trenton.
Okay, that's true. So I probably won't, but anyways...
I'm the voice of reason.
It doesn't really matter to go along with the story today. That part doesn't really matter. But basically what I'm getting to is... Things happened with those friends. This particular friend of mine that I had been friends with for years on end. I'm talking way longer than the friends that she was concerned about.
Yep.
Basically, she was just trying to like get into my bed. So basically how this started, how I found out. Sorry, I'm kind of like jumping ship here. She was supposed to go to my birthday party. I invited her to my birthday party. She tells me she has COVID, which was a straight up lie. Like, how do you get COVID but you're still at work?
I don't understand.
Like, she was at work, but then she tells me that she had COVID.
What even?
So, of course, me being me, I make like a post on my private and I'm like, it's weird that you can go to work when you have COVID. Like, I didn't think that you could do that.
Listen, Trenton's private story is, if you're on Trenton's private story, I am obviously on Trenton's private story. I think it was off of your private story for a little bit, and then I got, like, added back to it.
Okay, but that was, like, when we didn't talk very much.
Yeah. And we weren't, like... Me and Trenton have gone through many phases in life, and most of the time we have been very close friends. But there have been certain little phases that did not last super long, but they would last like a little while at a time. And it wasn't that we were mad at each other. It wasn't that we hated each other. It wasn't anything. It was just that
we had other friends.
We had other friends. And we would talk every once in a while, and we would hang out every once in a while. But we were just kind of like super close friends who didn't see each other.
And what really sucks is like, I wish I honestly would have been closer with Trinity throughout high school because I kind of like fell into the wrong group. And I kind of just like lived my life in a way that I never would have if I wouldn't have met those people.
Let's just say that same group of people kind of tried to pull me in with him. And then I noticed what was going on with this group of people. And I even looked at Trenton one time and I was like, I don't know if I want to join in on that.
Right.
And I like walked away from it. And I
Good
wish
thing that
I
you
would have
did.
tried harder to hold Trenton with me, because this group of individuals just, it didn't work out very well for him. And like, even this group of individuals will say stuff to me like, I can't believe like you're friends with, like they've said before, not, I haven't talked to them.
Oh no, I know, girl.
Forever.
But the thing too, like about this is it's so weird because they'll still make comments and it's like, we haven't been friends for like 2 years. If you're so obsessed with me, write a memoir, honey. At least cut me my check. Like, y'all are weird. Like, please get over me. I'm begging you. I am begging you. But one thing about people that y'all gotta know is the moment that you want them to leave you alone and be over you is when they are the most obsessed. And remember that. Everyone's going to be your fan. Everyone's going to want to talk shit on your name because they want to get to you and they want that attention back from you. They want to know that what they said messed with you or hurt you in some way. Of course, me being me, I don't give a shit. You cannot like try to fuck with me and fuck with my, what's the word, morale. Like, yes. I'm sorry, but I'm not letting anybody bring me down. And guess what? You shouldn't have to feel bad for stopping being friends with somebody. But basically, before Trinity continues on with this, it happened to me. It wasn't even just this friend. These ex-friends went to other people and was talking shit about me. But at least one of my dear friends, love her dearly, she even told me, like, I'm not getting involved. That has nothing to do with me, which I kind of wish the other friend would have too, because she's right. Like, it has nothing to do with her. And if it has nothing to do with you, if I'm not affecting you, why say anything? And why even make it your damn business?
It honestly,
make sure your rent's paid before you come at me, honey.
Honestly, it makes me so mad when people get into things that aren't their problem. Like, I had a friend. Also, I want to go off on a little tangent, just a little bit before this. Not only, like, if I just have to say this because Trent was like, don't, come at me or whatever. Also, if you're friends with Trent, and it's also the same as being friends with me, but like, I have had instances in my life where me and Trent, like senior year of high school, let's just say this, we were not as close as we had been in the past. It wasn't that we were distant. We were still friends. We still chatted, but we took this trip for like group at school. And there was somebody who I had known very closely in the past who decided it would be a good idea to kind of talk bad about me with another person who I don't really like, but it was somebody that they are very close with, very, very close with. We'll just say that because I can't say more without knowing what's going, And we took these buses and all this different stuff to this trip. So I rode the other bus than what Trenton was on. And this individual was on that bus that Trenton was on with this other individual. So I'll say that. And they were talking bad about me. And the people in front of them were like entertaining this idea of, and these people were like calling me fat and like pointing out the fat parts on my body because I was in a swimsuit. Like, we went to Florida, whatever. So I was like, what is happening? And we walk into the restaurant we're eating at that night, and immediately I am motioned over to come here. And Trenton and somebody who I was close to at the time, and so was Trent, ended up motioning me over, and they were like, just so you're aware, I almost punched this individual in the face. Like, he about landed on the ground. And I was like, oh my Lord, what happened? And they filled me in on what was going on. So, like, if you're close to Trent, he does, like, if you don't do anything wrong, like, meaning not wrong, like, trust me, we get in little arguments sometimes. But, like, if you don't do anything, like, crazy wrong and against him, you got a friend for life and you got somebody who will protect you. Because, like, and it's the same with me because there have been instances where I've told people to quit talking bad about you before.
Right. And there's many people that have done that for me, and I appreciate that. And I also realize that I am the problem sometimes. But I can admit that, and I can also say, like, we're young. Like, people fuck up. So the fact that this has been my big realization in the last few years if something happens with people, they will solely remember you for that.
Mm-hmm.
I have experienced that with myself.
Yep.
Like, I've experienced it, like, I remember something that somebody did to me 5 years ago. And I'm sure people feel the same way about me if we've had a falling out.
And depending on the degree of, like, what that person did, you remember it a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
And it lives. And a lot of people say, why do you let things that people do to you live with you? And in my brain, I'm like, here's the thing. It lives with me because, well, I am a very, like, I think we both are the same way. Well, also, you kind of can turn it off sometime, or, like, whatever. But, like, I care a lot about people. So when somebody does something bad to me, I automatically think, what did I do wrong in that situation? So for me, I'm like, depending on how bad it was, what they did to me, I sit and I'm like, what happened? What went wrong? Like, why would they do that to me? And so it lives with you a lot more than something smaller, like, obviously.
Right,
but,
and
like,
that makes total sense. But, like, where I was going with that,
Sorry,
you're
interrupted a
girl.
little.
This is both of our podcasts.
I know.
So where I was kind of going with it was more like they'll solely remember you for that thing. So no matter what, no matter how much you've grown, no matter how much you've changed, they'll always remember you for that. And it's not your job to change people's perception of you, because in the end, people will see what they want to see. That doesn't mean stay a shit person and don't apologize for what you did or anything like that, or own up to what you did.
Apologies go a long way.
Apologies do go a long way.
Not all the way.
Not all the way.
Long way.
But sometimes also, to go along with what I'm trying to say here, people don't want to hear an apology.
Mm-hmm.
They want to remember you as the person that fucked them over 3 years ago. And that's what they will remember you as.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just up to you to kind of not per se change their perception, but kind of go your own way and stay grounded in yourself. You know who you are. You know how much you've grown. And it's not up to you to change what people think about you. I want you all to remember that, because that's something I've had to, like, beat into my head, because I know a lot of people don't like me. And I know I don't give a lot of fucks. But that's another note.
You do when it's somebody you care about, though.
I do when it's somebody I care about.
My little tidbit to add on this particular topic is I had a friend. We had been friends for a few years. This friend got married. I was in their wedding. Like, we were super, super close. And we talked about everything. They were there for me. Like, you know, I went over to their place a lot and I hung out with them and, like, their significant other and their, you know, all this different stuff. And, like, I was their friend when they had a kid. Like, it was a whole thing. And then moving forward with it, their family member said one thing. Basically, their family member had tried to call me multiple times telling me, like, bad things about this person and things that were, you know, going on with this person, whatever. And I basically said, I'm not adding anything to this conversation. Like, you need to stop this, but, like, if you need to rant and get whatever feelings you need to get out, I'll sit here on the phone. But, like, also, you need to not repeat this. Like, this is not something that you should say to people. This is not you know what I mean? And I was like, but I am the friend that you can rant to, even if it's something that I'm like, you probably shouldn't be saying this. I'm like, for me, I don't repeat it. So it's not like, you know what I mean? And you know this at this point, Trenton, like, honestly.
Truth.
But the thing is, with this particular person, instead of just calling me and saying, hey, is this true? What's going on? This particular person, mind you not, I think I was a senior in high school at this point in time. This person messaged my mother on Facebook, messaged my mom, and I am 17 years old. I might have been a junior. 16 maybe? 17? I don't know. I was around 16, 17 years old. And instead of just saying, like, hey, I heard this about you. Is this true? Like, were you talking bad about me? They messaged my mom and they were like, just so you know, your daughter does this, 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 and this that you don't know about, which was completely false, mind you not. And tried to get me in trouble and then was like, just so you know, I think you should deal with this. Like, you know. And like when I was a kid, if I would have done this, my mom would have like taken my keys. And I'm like, you're not even 2 years older than me. Literally not even 2 years older than me. What is happening? So it was just like a whole thing. And then in the end, they ended up believing their family member and basically blocked me, unadded me, told me never to contact them again. And I'm over here like, what did I do wrong? I was the good friend in this situation. Yes, I let your family member rant to me, but like I thought that was like a norm. You know what I mean? Like I let everybody rant to me. I didn't know that this was different. Like, I'm also friends with your family member now because, you know, whatever. And so in the end of that situation, they ended up believing the family member and even talking later to a mutual friend of ours. They even told me that they had heard stuff about me from this friend, now ex-friend. And they had heard all these terrible things and things I had said and things I had done. And I was like, do you believe that? Like, honestly, I'm so confused. And this mutual friend was like, obviously, I don't believe it. Like, I'm friends with, you know, them, like this person, this individual, them, whatever. But like, I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like, I know you too. Because I might, well, we're not going to get into how I know this individual. But, like, they were like, I honestly, like, I don't think that that's something you would do. You're too, dare I say, sweet for that? Because, like, I'm sweet sometimes, but also sometimes I'm like, we're going to fight. But anyway, it's just a whole thing. And, like, I don't know. I hate when friends do that.
I know, and it just goes to show, though, like,
crazy.
people will
no matter what you do, because
what they want to believe. But basically, know who your friends are, know who you can trust, and if they can throw you away like you're a piece of trash, they were never really your friend in the first place. So, this was another great episode of Double the Tea with Trenton and Trinity. We will see you guys next week for our Halloween episode. Yeah. We are so excited.
So ready for it.
And we will see
you
later.